Apartments or condos, should I rent or should I own? Escrow or leasehold? Everything.
Welcome to Real Estate After Dark. I'm your host, Larry Casselberry, and to my left, and your right,
June King.
what's up on June? What's up?
Nothing much. Busy.
Busy.
Summer coming.
It is.
We said that last episode.
Somebody said it was the first day of summer. I was like, when?
No, I think it's June. Was it June 1st?
Is it June 1st? I guess some schools are already kind of getting out already.
Already?
I guess. Somebody said first day of summer. They was in their pool doing this stuff. I'm like,
well, maybe it's the first day of summer for them.
I guess so. At least I'm just missing something.
I'm not ready for the summer. I mean, it's like
Well,
175 degrees outside.
But it's busy for us.
It's busy.
I mean, this is like sweeps summer. Like, we are busy.
Busy is good.
Yeah, I like it. So I do like this time of year. Though my kids, they're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. So you got to balance it out.
Yes.
But I'm a little bit. I am excited about it too. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I don't have to do any activities in the summer no more.
Well, I don't know. You still doing them loans?
I'm still doing the loans, but my daughter's grown, and so I don't have to do any activities.
That's cool. Did you have a good Mother's Day?
I did.
I want to say Happy Mother's Day on air.
Oh,
and I
thank
see
you.
your little quick message, but
Thank
Happy
you.
Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Yes.
Shout out to all the mothers out there.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day. It's a beautiful moment. I know people complain. They say on Mother's Day we get treated like royalty, and then on Father's Day y'all get a mug.
Yeah, that's true. or lawn equipment.
Okay, you like
but I'm
that?
okay
though.
with that though. Give me a bag of fertilizer.
Okay, right.
I'll be all right. It's the simple things.
Right, absolutely.
Or they give you like some over crazy like man stuff. Here's an oversized fork. Like, what am I, Neanderthal?
Okay, right.
I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we're celebrating episode 7.
7.
I like to use the word celebrate because I like celebrating the little bitty benchmark. So
right,
number 7.
It's big. 7.
7. I love
7.
it. One of my lucky numbers actually. Is
7?
Yeah, it's one of them. Believe it or
You got
not,
a few.
I got a few.
Okay.
I got a few, but
you
I won't go
only
in
have one.
depth.
Okay.
No, some people have a couple. Paul got about 12.
Okay.
I have 3. But
yeah, 3. Okay.
yeah, it's all good.
So I mean, should I play that in a lottery or something?
No.
Okay.
no, because then it'll be my fault.
But
If you
you
lose
said
your
it's
money,
lucky. I
if you
mean-
lose your money, then it's going to be on you. But
Right.
cool. Well, let's get into this segment. What are we
Yes.
talking about today?
So we're going to talk about saving your money for your down payment.
That's right.
Right. That's
Mhm.
really important. So even though you use the down payment assistance, you still need some monies, right?
Of course.
And so the 4 upfront fees that you need to be expecting. And so what would you say that the 4 things that you need to pay up front when you say say I'm a buyer,
Right.
and I go and I say, oh, this is the perfect house, this is my house, and I want to put an offer in. You took me to go see the house, I want to put an
Right.
offer. So what's the next thing that they need to expect?
Well, definitely, depending on the amount of your house, you need your earnest money.
Okay.
We talked about that before.
We know it's not a person.
So if it's a $200,000 house, I would say for a good earnest would be $2,000.
Right.
Which is usually 1%.
Correct. So I don't want people to get scared, right? So
Right.
even when you put your earnest money down, that is including your down payment. So what they'll
course.
do is they'll subtract it at the end for closing.
Definitely.
So like if you have to bring $5,000 to closing and you put $2,000 up front,
Mhm.
then you're just gonna have to bring $3,000 to closing. So
Definitely.
that's an example. And so why is it important that even though we spoke about it, just in
Right.
case it's somebody first trying, why is it important to put the earnest money down?
Because it's communicating with the seller that you're interested in the home.
Correct.
Definitely. So that's probably the simplest answer I can probably give you. Another one would be being option fee.
Okay.
An option fee is just basically you're communicating with the seller that you want to, check out the house with an inspection. You want to take it off the market and say, hey, I'm interested in your house. So here's maybe $100 to $200 to do that.
And do you lose that option money if you decide that you don't want that house?
Well, it depends on your agent. Your agent would have to check actually the right box on the contract. So sometimes you can do it going towards the house, or sometimes you can have it refunded at closing.
Okay. A lot of times, because I work on the lending aspect,
Yeah.
they definitely get it refunded at the closing. But
Yes.
I remember when I put my house on the market and the person decided that they didn't want it. So the money.
Yeah,
I
they'll
kept.
give you back to you. Yeah.
So
As long as you're in that option period, of course.
no, I kept.
Even when
as
it
a seller.
expired.
No, I kept as a seller. I kept the
as you kept it. Yeah, of course, because it's in your favor.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely in your favor.
Okay.
A lot of the times too, if I'm on the buying side, I want them to save that $100. So,
right.
a lot of times I have it credited back to them at closing.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So and so with the option money, so even though, for example, if you have to bring $200 to closing, which would be a phenomenal closing, right?
Yes.
Then if your option money is $150, then you would have to bring $50 to closing. People like to hear round numbers. Like I'm a round number person too.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So, okay. All right. And then
the third one would be
appraisal.
For appraisal. Yes.
So usually I handle that part on the appraisal part, right? So after everything went through, you went through your option period. Oh, I still love this house. This house is perfect. There's nothing major that needs to be fixed, or maybe it's some things that need to be fixed, and Larry go negotiate it, get it fixed. Then we're in the process. We're in contract. That means that you are in contract with another person that you're going to purchase their home, right?
Of course, yes.
And the only way that you can get out of the contract is if you get denied.
Right.
Because you have the option period. You have 5 days to really think about it.
Right.
So you won't have buyer's remorse or, and things like that. And in buying a home, throughout the whole process for 30 days, you're going to have buyer's remorse.
Of course.
Should I do it? Should I didn't? So you to think, right? So
that's why things are, they go in order.
They go in order.
The option period for repairs, and then you actually get into, like you're talking about now, the appraisal part.
Yes.
Which is kind of summing up the value of the home.
Correct. That's important.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Because the bank wants to make sure they are financing something that's worth being financed.
Right. And you do. And you want it too. You want to know, because I don't want to buy a house for $100,000 and it's worth $72,000.
Right. And that's put a lot on me too as an agent, of making sure we have the right comps in the area that are fairly close to what we're offering for the home.
Correct.
Now, what if it was me for an agent to say, "Oh yeah, you need to go $15,000 over, and let's win this offer, and let's win the house," and then it appraises for $15,000 less,
and then you're responsible for it.
Then I'm responsible because I didn't do my job, my due diligence with communicating to my people what's the best offer that's going to stick.
Exactly.
That's going to get them to get the house and win. We're not going to just give you a crazy offer just to win.
Right. Some people do.
Some people do.
And that's awful.
Some people do. And and those sellers agents out there, I really hope that you're, compliant enough to kind of see those type of situations.
Do some work.
Do your work, do your homework. You know what the house is worth. You know what it's valued at. You know what it's possibly going to be in a ballpark of appraising for.
Right.
I think a great agent is going to be somewhere within 2,000 plus or minus, or right on.
Right.
So a lot of times when you see homes listed, they should be pretty much around comps, unless you're just cuckoo.
I know. For Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs.
I know, right? We're so corny. We just crack our own stuff up. Right.
And the last one will be what?
So let me tell them the expense. So so you'll have in mind, right? Yep. So the expense for the appraisal is between $500 and $600, right? Mm-hmm. So this is an upfront fee, right? This is what you need to expect.
You have to pay this.
Yeah. So once you out of contract, a week in the process, after 5 days after you come out of the option period, we're ordering an appraisal. It needs to be with the credit card, debit card, and something like that. And that is deducted also from your down payment. So if you had to bring $1,000 to closing, I'm using examples. Mm-hmm. If the appraisal is $600, then you only have to bring $400 to closing.
Of course.
Remember, these are examples. I'm not telling you need to bring $200 or $1,000 to closing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the last one is the inspection. We hit on that on one of our episodes, but let's talk about it a little bit again. Why is it important for an inspection?
Inspection is just the home health of the home. You want to make sure you're not going to run into any crazy problems with the house. It's going to cost you more money.
Right.
And also the bank sitting there.
Right.
Like, hey, do we have a healthy home?
Right.
We don't want a home that has foundation problems. We don't want to finance that.
Right.
We want to finance houses with plumbing problems. We don't want to finance houses with roofing problems.
Right.
They want to make sure all of that stuff is done on the front side.
Right.
Before we get into appraisal side.
Correct. So the lender don't require the inspection though.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I always tell my clients, because after y'all tell them,
especially if it's cash too,
if it's cash, you want to do an inspection.
Can't be as is.
Because the thing is that it's kind of like when you purchase a house, if you buy it and you walk in your door and the roof caves in, you are still expected to pay that mortgage.
Of course.
So I always tell people, so like when you guys tell, hey, you need to do an inspection, so they call me like, June, you think I should pay, the $300 to $500 for an inspection? I said, you know what? It's not required, but it's highly recommended.
Highly recommended.
Yes. So I would do it. So it's up to you. Because if you want a hole in your roof and you still paying the mortgage, it's on you.
Right. And if you want, a good friend of your family to come look at the house that's probably been doing it, and you're okay with that, okay.
Right.
That's on your friend and
Right.
you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I do run into some of those situations at some points, but you're right. Just talking to them about, what value, what's important. I have a little bit of an eye, but that's not for me.
Right. That's right. Right. That's not your specialty.
That's not my specialty.
Yeah.
People want me to give my opinion, and I'm like, this is where professionals come.
Right, exactly. Right, you're the professional and the real estate part. I'm the professional part in the lending.
Write this contract for you, right? Quick.
Right. You can do that.
Yeah. I can do that. But someone that's been doing it for a year, that's accredited by the Better Business Bureau, that belongs to certain organizations when it comes to like doing inspections. Someone that's been doing it for years, have great reviews. Take your time to look at those people that do inspections, because they do it every day. And they know what's good and they know what's bad and they know what to recommend.
Right. And you have an inspection guy.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Been doing
My man Bert is awesome.
And how long has Bert been doing it? Is it Bert?
Yeah, Bert.
Okay.
Yeah, Bert's been doing it for over 20 years.
So he's very experienced.
He's
yes.
very, very experienced.
Yeah,
and he has a thorough, eye to find these things. So
that's what you need.
That's right.
Shout out to Bert.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So these things, okay, because people think sometimes they can come in and you don't need no money for closing, even if you use down payment assistance.
Right.
So you always, and this not to scare people, but this is just reality, right? Because we want to set the right expectations, right? So you need at the beginning, you need at least $3,000. Of
course.
Right? For all these things, the earnest money, the option money, the appraisal and inspection. So you need to have at least $3,000 in your bank account, right?
Right.
Then you contact the lender like myself. Then
Right.
I can kind of give you the steps to teach you and tell you exactly what you need. But you need at least around $3,000.
Right.
Yes.
Then they're looking at closing cost and
right.
What the bottom end is going to be.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Saving money for your down payment, right? So that's
right.
always, I get people like that. So what do I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Contact their lender, and then we will go over the steps, and I will teach you how to save and how much you need to save for that. Even, like I say, I stress this, even when using a down payment system, because I get a lot of people that call me,
right.
and they think that because they're using a down payment assistance, that they don't need no money.
No money at all.
Yeah. So the down payment system says it's going to cover your down payment, but it's not going to cover everything. You have to have some type of skin in the game. Yes.
So a lot of times they just kind of want to see what that number may be.
Right.
And then when you talk about budgeting for them to save for that, then they can kind of get somewhat of a timeline.
Right.
Of what it looks like.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And then also so we're going to talk about understanding your credit, right?
Okay.
Qualifying for a home loan, that's important, right? Credit is important. It doesn't have to be like the best credit rate,
stellar.
Right?
You just you have to have some kind of history of credit.
Right. And so, of course, I'm not a credit expert,
but
I do help you, and I'll tell you some steps to be able to improve your credit. So that's the reason why preparation is the key, right?
Right.
So even if you're not ready right now, like you haven't prepared yourself, call myself, and then I'll get you in the right steps, and then I'll introduce you to Larry.
Right.
And so Larry could kind of send you what you send us, like them emails of the houses that they want.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, then Larry can take you out to go see a house.
Right. It gives you time. It keeps you motivated. And then, I need to save. Okay, so when you're seeing those houses pop up and you see one you like, you're like, man, maybe I want to save a little bit more this month, because I'm starting to see a lot pop up right now.
Right.
So it definitely can motivate you. And speaking of, you said, some good tips. Like, what would be like, if you said your top 3 tips of like for credit, what would that be?
So I hate to, because I'm not a credit expert, so I have to mention that again, right? So because I don't say,
I'm put you on the spot over here. June said these are her top 3.
So these are my top 3.
But you see these a lot, and I'm pretty sure there's some that just, okay, this is it.
Right.
This is what I see a lot.
So I hate to tell people the one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no 30-day late payments in the last year.
Okay.
That affects your credit. So you can be 17 days late, 20 days late. And I hate to tell people that, right? Because then you'll get in a pattern of being 7. You should always get a pattern of paying your bill on time, right? But life happens. So if you can't pay it, right? Because what the credit report looks at, it looks like a 30-day history.
Right.
So even if you're 15 days late or 16 days late, you're not considered late, but you're really late. So I want you to get in your mind that you're still late. So no 30-day late payments, right? And then overusing on your credit cards, right? Say you have a $500 limit on your credit card, right? And you spend $500 of it every month, but you pay it off. Well, the credit report has already hit that you owe the $500. They can't really see that you paid it off.
Right.
So if you want to keep, usually, I'm not a credit expert, but usually just seeing the credit report, you want to stay around 25%. So if you have a $500 limit, you don't want to spend more than $125 a month, even though you pay it off every month.
Yeah.
So that's super important.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned is, credit cards, they all have a different, algorithm or like a heartbeat and how they like to be, used.
Right.
So, you mentioned one, 25%, you may have one credit card that likes 15%.
Right.
You may have one that likes 10%.
Yes.
It's really up to you as a consumer to find out where it likes to be.
Right. But don't exceed over the 25.
But don't exceed over the 25.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to find out where it likes to be, because I know I even had like one credit card at one point that was at 15%. Well, it didn't like it. It didn't like 15%. But no, but it liked 10.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let me figure this out. I lost some points.
Right.
Based on being at 15. So, talk to your creditors about, the algorithms of your cards and what's healthy. And I think that could really help them out too, is understanding how that works.
Right.
And that, like you said, those 30-day payments in most cases that'll hurt your score for an entire year.
It will. Sometimes 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years for 90.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get somebody that's a credit specialist on here
to
throw some myths.
Yes.
Because there is definitely, and there's definitely a lot of myths when it comes to like credit.
Yes.
And I know it depends on where you are, scale, score, and how things are affected. But if, for a really good palette, that's kind of like the gauge I always kind of went off of. 30 is a year, 90 is 2. I'm like, okay, I don't want to get in those situations because I see where that's at.
Right.
So,
and then also to just knowing, like, keeping updated with your credit.
Yeah.
So go to the free sites like, was it Credit Sesame?
Mm-hmm.
Credit Karma.
Yep.
Now those are not your real credit scores, right? So don't call me and say, well, June Credit Karma said my credit score is 700.
Yeah.
That's not your truth, but it kind of tells you what's going on there as collections. It kind of gives you an idea on what you're knowing. And it gives you weekly updates.
Yeah, and some people have the myfico.com.
Yes.
And that if you want to pay, $20 to $30 a month to have it monitored, it's actually a really good thing to have.
Yes.
Especially for, cyber security stuff.
I mean, people
trying to steal your identities and things of that nature. So if you want to have a really, and it's good for people that are going through the process of trying to strengthen their credit to get in the home. It's good to be monitored on a situation that you can see it at a hard, credit score rather than something soft.
Right.
Because sometimes soft is, off on points or whatever.
Right.
But if you get a hard score that doesn't affect you by looking at it.
Yes.
Some of those situations you have to pay for mostly.
Right.
And it's okay to invest in that because you're trying to invest in yourself.
Right. Right. Which is great. Right. So just
Very
knowing
good.
your credit. Right.
Right.
So, so that's the biggest thing is saving up for your down payment and then also understanding your credit.
Right.
And so, also too, we're going to talk about episode 8.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So episode 8, I think that we're going to try to have like some people that are maybe specialized in credit or something. So we're going to come up with something.
Some myths. We got to sit down and just really, if you guys have questions leading up to the next episode 8 about credit, feel free to reach us out. Real Estate Podcast on Facebook and Real Estate After Dark on Instagram.
Yes.
Because I believe that you guys having these questions, these are the things that you really want to know. And I'll have questions myself.
Me too. Even though I look at it and see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have questions myself, but we want you guys to, to interact with us and let us know what's important to you and what you would like to know. So I think that'll be awesome to do. Right.
Absolutely. So we can just kind of we can kind of reach you all. And so that way, and also to one of the things that don't be nervous about this process. I know a lot of people, I've talked to people and they're like, oh, I don't know if I qualify, and they qualify. Or they're just so close. So don't be nervous. Even if you don't qualify, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to help you get to the steps. So don't be nervous.
You'll be surprised, making 1 or 2 different changes or just making one payment here, what it will do for you. I mean, you just be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing drops off.
Yes.
Hey, pay $200 on this.
Yes.
And then they'll start working with you, giving you estimates of where your score would like to be.
Absolutely.
So I mean, some people are just not so far off. So be excited about going through the process. Don't think it's like, Oh man, it's the elephant in the room for me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's
June.
It's a good
I
feeling.
don't know.
I know, right? Like Scooby, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an excitement though. You know,
Yeah.
a sense of home ownership and everything. So yeah, so we're going to episode 8. It's going to be a surprise because we want to surprise you all,
Right.
and tell you everything. And other than that, knowing your credit, knowing where you are, knowing your status, right? And
Right.
so contacting the professionals, myself, June as a lender, and Larry as the realtor. And,
That is right.
And how can I reach us again?
Well, you can reach me at 1-833-224-8227.
Perfect. And then you can reach me at 469-432-2834.
All right.
Other than that, it was great, guys. Blessings.
Blessings. Thank you very much.
Should I rent or should I own? Escrow